In this video, we're going to be talking all about FastPass Plus at Walt Disney World. We're going to be talking about some tips, tricks, and strategies to make sure you're making the most of each FastPass and your time in the parks. So let's dive in. Hey there, I'm Eric D, and on this channel I share food reviews, tips and tricks, and vlogs from Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and the Disney Cruise Line, all in hopes of making your next Disney adventure a little bit more magical. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing. But in this video, we're going to be talking specifically about Walt Disney World and the FastPass Plus system. I'm going to quickly give an overview of what the FastPass service is and outline some of the differences, unique benefits, and some of the challenges of using it in Walt Disney World. Then I'll give you my strategy for which FastPasses I would pick for each park. If you're looking for information on the FastPass and MaxPass system at Disneyland in California, I'm going to put a link above and a link down below in the description, because while there are some similarities in the overall service, it's a very different system between Walt Disney World and Disneyland. As any Disney fan can tell you, FastPass lets you have a reduced wait for attractions, shows, and also meet and greets while you're in the parks. And what's really great about this service is it's free. All you need to have is a ticket to get into the park, and you can use this service. When it is time to redeem your FastPass, you just go to the FastPass entrance of that attraction, you scan your Magic Band or your park ticket, and you walk on in without reduced wait time. It's awesome. And at Walt Disney World, the service is called FastPass Plus because you can start planning your trip long before you ever arrive on your trip. In fact, you can schedule 3 FastPasses for each day you're going to be using your ticket. If you are staying at a Disney Resort hotel, or what we'll refer to as on property for on Disney property, you can actually reserve your FastPasses 60 days in advance from when your trip starts for the entire length of your stay. That means if you have a week-long trip, maybe going from Sunday to Saturday, and you're going to be in the parks Monday through Friday, you can actually start scheduling 3 FastPasses for each day you'll be in the parks, starting 60 days out from that Sunday. Keep in mind, for those 3 FastPasses per day, they must be at a single park each day. So for example, you can't reserve 2 FastPasses at Magic Kingdom and 1 at Epcot. For those first 3 you will make before you arrive, they all have to be in the same park. If you aren't staying at a Disney hotel to get the 60 days out, you can actually start scheduling 30 days out from each day you'll be in the park. But you don't get a schedule for the length of your trip. You actually have to schedule each 30 days. So Monday, 30 days out, Tuesday, 30 days out. You can already see that staying at a Disney hotel offers a big benefit if you're going to be getting FastPasses. And here's one tip to make even more of that benefit. When you start scheduling that 60 days out, start scheduling at the end of your trip. You might be saying, but people are going to take those ones at the first. Well, actually, people have already started taking those at the first, because just like you get to schedule all 5 days of you'll be in the park, other people who were coming the week before, a few days before, they've been scheduling out their FastPasses, so they've already started to cut into those first few days. So to ensure you get FastPasses for those hard-to-get attractions, make sure you start scheduling those at the end of your trip, like Flight of Passage, Slinky Dog Dash, or Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and then work your way forward, knowing that you're not going to get quite the hard-to-get attractions at the start of your trip. And to make sure you have the best chance to get those hard-to-get attractions, either 60 days out or 30 days out when your window opens up, the exact moment you can start making those reservations is at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, Walt Disney World time. And so that will likely mean an early morning, and if you're on the West Coast, a very early morning. And from my personal experience, each time I've done this, for the first 5 to 10 minutes, everyone's hitting it really hard, and the system usually doesn't remember something I do. It will be annoying. I'm slightly upset because I'm like, I woke up so early and it's not working. Why is the computer going so slow? It can be a little frustrating when Disney's system keeps going down or it's being really slow. But each time, once 30 to 45 minutes is up, by that time, I have each of my days planned out. I have the FastPasses for the most part that I was hoping to get. And if I wouldn't have gotten up at that 7 a.m. time, or even earlier when I live out here, then I wouldn't have had those reserved that day. So definitely, if you want to make the most of it, 7 a.m. Eastern time is when you can start booking those. When scheduling your FastPasses, make sure you do go in with a plan, because it is going to be an early morning for you, and it is going to be a little stressful. So you want to make sure you have a plan of what you're trying to get and what your main goals are. And of course, to schedule your FastPasses, you can use the Walt Disney World website or the Walt Disney World app. Disney World releases their operating hours and dining reservations 180 days out, so you will know what parks have early entry, how late they plan to be open, so take all of that information into account. If you're staying at a Disney hotel, you do have access to extra magic hours. Keep in mind though, that sometimes those parks with the extra magic hours will be busier than other parks because lots of guests will be attending the extra magic hours. Also, Disney World is so large. If you're used to Disneyland, it's a completely different world, and world is the right description for Walt Disney World because it's so large. So unless you want to be spending a lot of time on boats, monorails, Skyliner, or buses, be smart about planning your dining reservations. If you're going to be in a specific park, make sure you are planning the dining reservation over in that area or in a resort hotel by there. Because if you're having to skip park to park, it's nothing like Disneyland, and it's nothing like going over to, oh, I'm going to go over to the Grand Californian Hotel or to the Disneyland Hotel. You're going to have to be planning up to an hour or more at sometimes to get over to those locations for a dining reservation. So you definitely want to take your dining reservations into account and plan those around where your FastPasses will be. And if you aren't able to reserve the exact FastPasses you want to, keep checking back every so often because families and groups will be changing their plans. So leading up to it, check every so often, but especially that day or night before, because families might be changing their plans the night before. As far as, we were planning to go to Hollywood Studios, the kids want to go to Magic Kingdom, so we're going to delete these FastPasses. We'll put those back out there, and that's the chance you can try and scoop some of those hard to get ones up if you miss something. So keep an eye on that. It's not a guarantee, but definitely don't give up hope on getting those. If you miss one of your 3 FastPasses because maybe you got busy with other attractions or shows or just moving a little bit slow that day, don't worry, all is not lost. You will still see that FastPass on your app, and while you likely won't get the same one that you had before, you can modify or reschedule for a different FastPass attraction that is available at that time. You can also use the app to modify or change FastPasses that haven't happened yet throughout the day. After you have used your first 3 FastPasses, you can make additional FastPass reservations at that time. And this is true right after you scan to enter that 3rd attraction. You're free to make another selection on your phone, or after you get off the ride, you can go to an in-park kiosk to find the next FastPass you want. Then you'll be able to use that FastPass, and once you scan that one, you can reserve another one and go on and on. And after you've used your 3rd FastPass, you can then start scheduling FastPasses in different parks. So if you have been in Magic Kingdom, but you want to go over to Epcot for the evening, at that point you can start scheduling a FastPass for over there. Here's a few more best practices to keep in mind as you're scheduling your FastPasses. Keep in mind, these are taking into account that you're going to try and be at the park when the park is opening. So schedule your first FastPass about an hour and a half to 2 hours after the park opens. Because those first hour, 2 hours, the park is pretty easy to get through. The crowds aren't there yet, and a lot of these rides you can walk right on. So sometimes I see people scheduling FastPasses really early in the morning, and it makes me sad because I'm going in the standby line, they're using their FastPass, and we basically end up, like in the same boat or on the same roller coaster car. Where it's like, you could just kind of wasted a FastPass because there's no line right now. So for that first hour and a half, 2 hours, don't reserve that. But then, once you start reserving your FastPasses, have them go together as close as possible. You are required to have an hour for each one, so it will tell you you can arrive between 10:30 and 11:30, and it won't let you schedule another FastPass over that time. But I would recommend, for example, scheduling a FastPass at 10:30, 11:30, and 12:30. And then after you go on that attraction at 12:30, you're able to schedule more FastPasses. And so then you can start to try and get other FastPasses that maybe you didn't get a chance to or you wanted to get earlier. But if you space those out as far as like, 11, 2, 4, a lot of the FastPasses later in the day are going to be taken up from people who have already been through their first 3 FastPasses, and they're gathering up more at that point. One other helpful hint is if you just barely miss a FastPass, don't worry, there is a slight grace period. Now Disney doesn't advertise this, but you can arrive 15 minutes after that window, or up to 5 minutes before your window starts. So if you're there just a little bit early or a little bit late, don't worry, you can still scan your Magic Band or your park ticket. That light will turn green and you can go on in. From what I've shared so far, you can probably see why I get nervous when I have a friend come to me and say, hey, I'm going to Walt Disney World next week. I've never been before. What do I need to know? And I'm like, well, you scheduled your FastPasses, right? And they're like, oh, what about that? Because this isn't just like Disneyland where you can arrive the day of and have all the FastPasses available. These start to disappear 30, 60 days out. So you definitely want to be planning ahead. And to add to that, not all FastPasses are created equal at Walt Disney World. What I mean by that is 3 of the parks have a tiered system where you can select 1 FastPass from this group for your first 3 FastPasses, and then 2 from this group. We're going to break it all down here, and I'm going to tell you which I would recommend you grab in each park, and then how I would go about my day in each park. I know this can seem a little daunting, but don't worry, once you get the basics, you'll be a pro at it. And that's why you're here, to learn the tips and tricks. So at Magic Kingdom, the good news is all the Fastpasses are created equal in the sense that there's no tiered system. So the Fastpasses you can get in Magic Kingdom are the Barnstormer, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Enchanted Tales with Belle, Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, Jungle Cruise, at Tea Party, The Magic Carpets of Aladdin, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Meet Ariel at her grotto, Meet Cinderella and Elena, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, Meet Mickey Mouse at the Town Square Theater, Meet Rapunzel and Tiana at the Princess Fairy Tale Hall, Meet Tinkerbell at the Town Square Theater, Mickey's PhilharMagic, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Peter Pan's Flight, Pirates of the Caribbean, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Tomorrowland Speedway, Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid. So my top attraction to try and get a FastPass for at Magic Kingdom is definitely Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This can have a line that goes 2 hours sometimes. It gets crazy. And so if you don't get it, go there first thing in the morning. It's a fun attraction, you'll have an awesome time, but 2 hour wait, you don't need to do that for a Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Definitely try and get a FastPass for that one. The other attractions I recommend trying to get them for, and I'm going to give you a few options more than just 3 here. I would suggest either Big Thunder Mountain or Splash Mountain, and also Peter Pan if you have little ones, or Space Mountain. Those would be my top ones to try and get. And for example, if I was able to get a FastPass for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Splash Mountain, and Peter Pan, how I would start my day is by going towards Big Thunder Mountain when the park opened. Shortly after Big Thunder Mountain, I would head over probably to Jungle Cruise, and then head on to Pirates of the Caribbean. My time in between the FastPasses, I would fill it with things like Country Bear Jamboree, Tiki Room, Hall of Presidents. Walt Disney World is great that they have a lot of shows that don't require a lot of time as far as waiting in line. It's a great show and it fits in perfectly between these FastPasses. Once I've done those FastPasses, I would see if there's anything open for Space Mountain, and then also just start filling in for other attractions because Walt Disney World tends to get longer lines than people might be familiar with at Disneyland, and so I would just start to fill those in, not wasting any time with my FastPasses. Over at Epcot, the FastPasses are broken into the 2-tier system where you can only take one of the most popular attractions and then you get 2 of the not as popular attractions. In Tier 1, the attractions are Frozen Ever After, Soarin' Around the World, Test Track, or the viewing areas for Epcot Forever, or later in the year, Harmonious, which is the nighttime spectacular. The 2nd-tier attractions are Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival, Journey into Imagination, Living with the Land, Mission Space, The Sea with Nemo and Friends, Spaceship Earth, Turtle Talk with Crush. For me personally, I would try and recommend getting Frozen Ever After as your main attraction there, and then for your other ones, the attractions in the front of the park do get busy that first part of the day, so I would probably get Spaceship Earth or Living with the Land, even though later in the day these usually don't have a very long line. If you can knock some of those out at the first, it will save you time later in the day. If I'm able to get those FastPasses, when the park first opens, I'm going to head over to Test Track to try and get on there, or head on over to Soarin'. Once again, I try and use those FastPasses earlier in the day, by 1 p.m. hopefully, because you can usually still get some FastPasses for either Test Track or Soarin' Around the World if you're able to get through by that time and start reserving more. Because the nighttime spectaculars at Epcot have so much viewing area all around World Showcase, I don't recommend tying up one of your FastPasses all day for one of those. If into the evening you don't have anything else you want to go on and there are FastPasses available for that, go ahead and grab one and you'll get a little bit better viewing area. But otherwise, just grab a place anywhere around World Showcase and you can usually get a decent view as long as you're there 20 to 30 minutes ahead. Over at Hollywood Studios, they also are broken into the 2 tiers. The first tier has Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and Slinky Dog Dash. In Tier 2, the attractions are Alien Swirling Saucers, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, Disney Junior Dance Party, Fantasmic, For the First Time in Forever, a Frozen Sing-Along Celebration, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Muppet Vision 3D, Rock and Roller Coaster, Star Tours, The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Toy Story Mania, and Voyage of the Little Mermaid. For this one, Tier 1 is a little tricky because you have the new Mickey and Minnie attraction, you have Millennium Falcon, which is a lot of fun, and Slinky Dog Dash. All of these attractions are going to have huge waits. To me, the Slinky Dog Dash is a lot of waiting in the sun and just kind of going back and forth through switchbacks, so I would recommend trying to get the FastPass for Slinky Dog Dash, and when you first get into the park, head over to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, or if your group wants to go to the Mickey and Minnie one, head to that one first. The other two fast passes I definitely recommend getting here are Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. Those consistently have the longest lines, and the other fast passes for the shows, you don't usually need fast passes to actually get into the show. Just show up a little bit early and you'll still be fine. You might not have the ideal seat you want, but you're still in the show, you're gonna enjoy it, it's gonna be great. At the time of filming this video, Rise of the Resistance, the amazing Star Wars attraction at Hollywood Studios, is still using boarding groups instead of fast passes. To get a boarding group, you need to be at Hollywood Studios before the park opens. They'll start letting guests in, and as soon as the park opens, you need to be on your app and hitting the button to say join boarding group, and it will give you a number. So throughout the day, they will call your number. As the attraction is up and running, they'll say, okay, groups 1 through 10, come on in. Groups 10 through 20, come on in. Your app will just keep updating, so then you'll know when your time is coming up. But if things change and they start offering fast passes for Rise of the Resistance in the future, that would definitely be my #1 choice for Hollywood Studios. It's an amazing attraction and you're gonna love it. Once again, I don't recommend tying up all your fast passes by getting an evening showing of Fantasmic, but if it is later in the day and you see one of those available and you want to take it, go for it. That way you guarantee you'll be able to get in there and not have to wait as long, and the seat will be a little bit better. Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, the Tier 1 attractions are Avatar Flight of Passage and Na'vi River Journey. The Tier 2 attractions are Dinosaur, Expedition Everest, Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo the Musical, It's Tough to Be a Bug, Cali River Rapids, Kilimanjaro Safaris, Meet Favorite Disney Pals at Adventures Outpost, Primeval Whirl, Rivers of Light, Up, A Great Bird Adventure, the animation experience at Conservation Station. For the Tier 1 attraction, the answer is easy, Flight of Passage. Try and get that one because that line is lots of times over 2 hours long. It is an amazing attraction, you're gonna have an amazing time, but that line gets crazy long. If you aren't able to get that one for one of your fast passes, be there at rope drop when the park opens and head right there. You likely will still have a longer wait, but it's not going to be that 2-3 hours that it can be if you get there first thing. If you're able to get the fast pass for Flight of Passage, then head over to Na'vi River Journey first, because that attraction can also go over an hour in wait time, and I really don't think it's worth over an hour wait. It's a nice attraction if it's a 20-minute wait or 25-minute wait. Anything longer than that for me isn't really worth it on that one. Once again, awesome attraction, but just not worth that kind of time. My personal recommendations for the attractions on the next tier would be Kilimanjaro Safaris. This is one of my favorite attractions at Animal Kingdom. It's amazing seeing those animals, and it's different each time you go as far as what animals you get to see and how they're interacting. It's really awesome. And once again, the line can get pretty long for this one. The other attraction I'd get a fast pass for is Expedition Everest. One of the great things about Flight of Passage having such a long line, if you're able to get a fast pass for it and you're there at rope drop, you're going to likely be able to still hit lots of the other attractions with little to no wait. In fact, you can even hit Kilimanjaro Safaris and Expedition Everest with little to no wait when the park first opens. But after the first hour or two, those attractions both go up and can easily reach 45 minutes to an hour. If I was able to secure that fast pass for Flight of Passage at rope drop, I would head over to Na'vi River Journey to experience that. Then I would head over to some of the other attractions that I didn't hit. Once again, using a fast pass for Rivers of Light would tie up that fast pass all day, so I don't necessarily recommend doing that unless you don't have anything else you want to try for after your first 3 attractions. Animal Kingdom's also great that they have lots of shows like the Festival of the Lion King, Nemo, Up, A Great Bird Adventure, that you can fill in lots of time as you're waiting for your next FastPass attraction to begin. I know that was a ton of information. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, please give this video a like. And in the comments below, I would really love to hear what are your tips and tricks and strategies as you plan out your FastPasses when you're headed to Walt Disney World. I shared what I thought. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a very magical day, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Bye.